Joining us right now, Dale Sunderland, who is a columnist with the Star Beacon and also a well-known outdoorsman. And you got something coming up, Dale. The Ashtabula County Wildlife Conservation League annual spring banquet, which we've been announcing here.
Yes. Appreciate that very much. By the
Tell
way.
us, that's fine. We'd like to do that. Tell us when it's going to be and what it's all about.
It's going to be on June 14th this year at the Lennox New Lyme Community Center. It's an annual thing. About 3 years ago or so, when I became president, we decided to ramp it up a little bit, and it's going real good. We usually draw about 200 people. We've got more guns to give away, silent auction items, tons of door prizes. My wife takes care of that. She loves spending money, so. But it's catered by the Briquettes from the harbor, from the Ashtabula Harbor down there, and the food is excellent.
Are they going to do ribs?
Pulled pork and either pulled turkey or chicken, I believe. Okay, yeah, you've got your choice and all the amenities that go with it. All right, the tickets are only $20. It's one of the cheapest banquets around. Okay, that gets you in, and it also gets you a chance on a Thompson 50 caliber muzzleloader. All right, so in all actuality, your dinner it's only costing you $10, which is a heck of a deal. But this year on the raffle items for the guns, we've got a Marlin 44 lever action rifle, which is a lot of people that don't pay attention to what's going on in the Division of Wildlife. This year you'll be allowed to use straight wall cartridges, rifles to hunt deer with in the state of Ohio. That did pass, and the Ashtabula County Wildlife Conservation League was very instrumental in that, getting it passed through the Division of Wildlife. We put in a proposal to the League of Ohio Sportsmen's Convention, which gets turned over to the Division of Wildlife, and they accepted it. So that was a big coup for the league per se. We've also got a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 380 semi-auto with a laser, a Traditions Canyon Reaper muzzleloader, a Smith & Wesson MP Shield 9mm, a Taurus Judge 45 410, and a Smith & Wesson Tactical 22 type rifle. And you need not be present to win the rifles, okay, any of the firearms, okay? You can buy a ticket, and obviously, we'll notify them.
That's quite an investment in those guns.
Yes, yes, that's between the guns and the cost of the dinner. Okay, that's our biggest investment. The Lennox New Lyme Community Center, where we're having it, we used to have it at the Morgan Hose Fire Hall, and the first year we ran it, we packed it. Okay, it was shoulder to shoulder, and I promised the people then, I said next year it'll be bigger and better, which was last year, and it was. We found the, like I say, the new Lennox New Lyme Community Center over there on Lennox New Lyme Road, just outside of Jefferson, and it's much more space, better conditions, air conditioned. If we can figure out how to work it this year. My daughter figured it out about a half hour before, excuse me, before the dinner was over last year. Okay. We've got a full array of silent auction items. We've got several ladies type items on the silent auctions, as well as door prize giveaways. We've tried to make this a family orientated banquet per se. A lot of the outdoor banquets, they gear them for the redneck guys like myself. Okay, plain and simple. But we've tried to make this a family orientated type thing. A lot of ladies items, etc. Okay, so it's a real good time. It's a real good time.
This is not the same thing as they used to have a thing, and I would find they still maybe do, an exclusive dinner where I think it was like Fur and Feather or something. It was an outdoors person's event. It was rather adult, but this isn't the same thing.
No. Woods and Waters is, I think, the one you're talking about, maybe. Okay, and that was fairly exclusive. Okay, and they
have a special invite type way,
and they catered to people with a lot of money in their pockets. Okay. To put it bluntly. Okay.
Yeah.
This thing, our thing here, like I say, it's a blue collar, banquet for regular everyday outdoors type people, or just anybody who wants to come.
Is there alcohol? Is there?
We do have beer. Okay. And the way the beer works is we've actually got a turkey print. Okay, a real nice turkey print that you pay $1 for, okay, a chance on a turkey print, and you get a free beer. Okay, so and then it always goes real good. We've always.
What's a turkey print?
Just a picture per se. You know, usually it's a sketch. We get it from the Turkey Federation guys. Okay, it's an outdoors type drawing print picture.
Okay, okay. Again, this is going to be on June 14th. Social hours begins at 5, dinner at 6, and a wide variety of raffle items will be available, as Dale just said. And I would imagine, like you said, there seems there's an awful lot of overhead here to give away that many guns, and that's not cheap. And
it's a little bit of an outlay, but you know, this the money that we get from this. You know, just to let everybody know, it all goes back into our fund. And the Ashtabula County Wildlife Conservation League is a nonprofit 501c3. All right. So what we do with our money is we actually give it back out to the other conservation clubs in the Ashtabula County area. We now have 11 clubs that belong to the league. To give you an idea of what the league is, you know, I hate to equate it to this, but it's the way people understand. We're like the international, if it was a union type situation, and all the clubs that are underneath us are like the locals, okay? We represent them to the state when it comes to issues like we talked about a few months ago with the deer issues, and there's going to be some turkey issues coming up, so we'll be heavily involved in that. We can't get real political because of our 501c3 status, but we can support issues that relate to our mission per se. Okay.
I'm going to ask you that now that you mentioned turkeys. I had a lot of people telling me they're hunters this year, or when they went turkey hunting, nothing.
Right.
I had 2 turkeys in my backyard a couple nights ago. I go, they're in my yard, and hunters are saying they're going out in the woods. They don't run into them.
Ashtabula County itself was down 9.94%. I did the numbers, okay, on turkey harvest this past year.
Why is it down?
I myself personally, and I even wrote this in my article, you know, I attribute it, or I'm attributed to several factors, okay. Poor hatches, you know, real wet springs will drown out the nests, and the birds have to reestablish their nests. Predation, okay, raccoons, coyotes, etc. get into the nest and bust them up. Same thing when the poults are young, they can't get up in the trees until 10 days, till about 10 days old, 10, 11 days old. Then they can fly up. So at that time they're real vulnerable. Okay. One of the biggest things I attribute it to is this. And the Division of Wildlife doesn't want to hear this, but we hunt them too early. We actually hunt them when they're still in the breeding stage, okay? And the gobblers are not receptive at that time. So what happens is, you know, we have a really hard time drawing that gobbler away from his flock, per se. Pennsylvania starts later than us and goes later than us. In fact, their season doesn't end until the May 31st usually, on Memorial Day. And they're along the same parallel line we are, you know, for climate change and stuff, okay? And they've listened to us, okay, not only the league, but the northern area. And we're trying to convince them that we need to start later, okay, in the year to make it a little bit more successful. But if you look at the numbers, again, you know, like I say, this year was 9+% down. If you go back, let's say 6, 8 years, excuse me, we were bringing in over 1,000 birds, you know, harvesting over 1,000 birds in our spring turkey season. Now you equate that to what happened this year, 615 birds or something in Ashtabula County, which is still the top #1 county in the state of Ohio, for some reason, okay, because it's so big, again, you know, as compared to some of the smaller ones. But we're down 40% from what we were half a dozen years ago.
When do they breed? Like
They're actually breeding right now.
Right now, in spring.
Yeah.
And they will have their...
Takes 32 days for them to
a
hatch.
month. Okay.
32 days.
Yeah. Right along the same lines as a duck and a goose.
And somebody, I was talking on the air the other day, and somebody mentioned, that maybe it was me, that turkeys can't fly, but they can fly.
Oh, they're not long distances, 50, 75 yards, something to that effect.
Really?
Yeah, but they can fly. Yeah.
Somebody also, I read yesterday that in a column from the Erie Times that turkeys are well known to drown because they look up in the sky when it's raining. Is that a true story?
Domestic turkeys, yes, okay, but your wild turkeys, no. And, you know, and God love her soul. My mother passed away back in the early 2001, but she grew up down in the Arkansas, Texas area, and she used to tell me stories because her father, my grandfather, had turkeys for sale and for consumption. And she said when it was rain, we had to chase them all in the coop because they were so stupid. They'd look up and they would drown. I said, Mom, you got to be kidding me. She says, no, I swear to God.
They're really a dumb animal.
Yeah, domestic ones are really dumb.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So if you call somebody a dumb turkey, that's
That's that's definitely equating them to
What about the deer harvest? And you might have told me this last time you were on. I can't remember if we even were in that season yet. But was the deer harvest up last year?
Nope, it was down too. Okay, the deer harvest was down. I can't remember the number. I think it was somewhere around 17% in the Ashtabula County area. It was down statewide somewhere around 13%, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and again, you know, the last time I was on, I was pushing for a big forum that was going on down at Yankee Lake.
Yeah.
And we had thank you very much, by the way, we had an outstanding showing at that.
Did you?
Yes. Dr. Tonkovich, who is the deer biologist for the state of Ohio, thought he was going to come there and see maybe 25 guys. There was well over 200 people there.
You're kidding.
It was awesome, you know.
Wow.
And you know, we in an intelligent and well thought manner, we hammered them, and they did back off in some of the areas in Ohio on the amount of deer tags they're giving out. Ashtabula wasn't one of them. We can still have 3 tags in Ashtabula, but they backed off on Trumbull, and they dropped them from 4 to 3. So that push was successful by the sportsmen of Northeast Ohio.
How do you go about counting deer? How do you do that?
They used to do aerials, okay?
Okay.
And this is one of the things that Dr. Tonkovich talked about in that seminar, per se, or gathering. They now, I don't know if they still do the aerials, okay, but they now use, obviously, buck harvests from what people tag, you know, shoot and turn in, all right? They also use roadkill, okay, buck only reports, okay, of what the wildlife officers or they pick up off the road, state road crews, etc., and insurance reports for collision, deer car collisions, buck only. And we tried to get him to explain why they didn't use doe harvests.
Right.
Okay, and include that. And he says, well, the buck harvests or the buck road kills, the buck count, directly correlates with the amount of doe. And again, we asked him several times, not only myself, but other gentlemen that were there. You're not the doe
Right. population
is much larger. Wouldn't that be a better if you mix that in somehow? And then, you know, I mean, he still stood his ground that those countings of buck numbers directly correlates with
That
the doe
doesn't make
herd.
any sense to
No,
me.
it doesn't.
No.
You know, Dale,
yeah.
Steve and I were just talking earlier this morning, just before you came in, that we've noticed deer running around in neighborhoods. Mine, I had one in the yard the other night, running through my yard. But I live next to the old golf course down here on Lake Road, and I think a lot of them a lot of animals and critters are coming out of that. It's overgrown.
Yeah, okay.
And I imagine there's probably a lot of deer in there.
Golf courses are notorious for having deer problems. Okay.
Really?
And a lot of them, even during the hunting season, they'll allow bow hunters, a lot of them, in to try to control the population.
Really?
But what's happening right now is this is the birthing season for the doe. Okay. So they're running helter skelter to a certain extent. You're going to see a lot of roadkills now, but not as many as compared to, like, say, during the rut, okay?
Right.
You'll see a lot now because they tend to migrate back to where they were born,
Right.
okay?
Really?
So they're trying to get back to where they, you know, their core area, because they'll wander because of food sources, okay? But they're trying to get back to their core area to have their young, and that's where you're going to pick up the roadkills that you're seeing now, which I've seen probably 4 on the way out here. I live in Harpersfield. on
Yeah,
I-90.
I've seen a
you know.
few too.
Yeah.
In the last week, I've seen a few out on Lake Road, especially. And then Steve, you saw one in a rather busy neighborhood,
Right down by Township Park.
Township
Yeah.
Park.
Just wandering around, probably looking for food. It was a doe.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having their young now. Now is the
Yeah,
time.
now is the time. Yeah, you can basically they're dropping their young now, and you can count back 201 or 210 days, and you can calculate when the rut was when they were bred. Okay, because a deer's gestation period is it's either 201 or 210 days.
We had a lot of vehicle accidents with deer during the rut period last fall.
Yeah,
You know,
that's prime time, and it doesn't make a difference. Day, night, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're running. Okay.
yeah. When I ride over here, it's dark, and I'm looking all over the place because you never know the one they will run out in front
Yeah,
of you.
well, a friend of mine said it in a different way, but pretty much during the rut season when they're mating and looking for food. Pretty much that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That in the fall.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, they get a buck has two things on his mind. Sex is primary, just like most men, all right, and food to sustain himself so
Like
he
most
can
men.
have sex, okay, and the doe go through different stages, okay. There's basically 3 stages. There's the seeking stage, the chasing stage, and the receptive stage. All right, the seeking chase stage is where the buck is seeking out does that are receptive, which a lot of them aren't. The chasing stage is when they're getting closer to being in estrus, which in heat, and they'll actually chase them, but the doe won't stand for them. And then the receptive stage, which the doe becomes is in heat, and they breed, and they usually stay with them for a day or 2, maybe 3, depending on the doe. Okay, and then boom, they're just like a gigolo. They're off to find another one.
Yeah.
How many do they generally give birth to? The does?
That normally 1. Mother Nature takes care of itself. It's a wondrous thing. Okay, if the deer population is actually down, they'll have 2, sometimes 3.
Really?
Yeah. My daughter, not this year, but last year, we in the area in Harpersfield where she lives, there's a large expanse of woods in between the roads. And she actually looked out the window. She called me one morning. She said, "Dad, this is unbelievable. I see 3 doe out. I see a doe out there, and she's got 3 young with her." I said, "Get a picture." I mean,
Wow.
that's not unusual. I mean, it is unusual. A lot of times they'll have twins.
Yeah.
So.
Deer ticks have been a problem.
Yes.
And you hunt a lot. I mean, how do you fight that?
In deer season, it's rough because the DEET that you use smells so bad that the deer will smell you. Okay, getting in and out of the woods is a little on the rough side. I mean, they make Insectishield, and Janine Kirby, okay, who's one of the local Ashtabula, she has Lyme's disease, and she's been promoting it with the help of John Patterson, our local 99 rep.
I think she's been on the show.
She may have been, yeah. And they've got a bill going through now to recognize Lyme disease more. In fact, this week's article in the paper is going to be on some ways to avoid the ticks and stuff. But again, I get up in the stand, I throw on, it's called a Thermocell, which we've got one of these on the banquet, okay, for an auction type thing. And they're great. They chase away every bug in the woods within a 15-foot radius.
Is that even the mosquitoes?
Mosquitoes, that's the big thing, mosquitoes,
Yeah.
because my land, the land I hunt on is in the Grand River flood region, and the mosquitoes out there, you walk in and walk out without something, and you'll need a blood transfusion almost,
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad.
Yeah. I understand that now at dusk here, they're terrible.
These things cost $26. They take a little canister of, there's no odor to it whatsoever, and a little pad, okay, that goes on, and I can sit down in the turkey woods, and that's when, sometimes it's really bad because you're down on the ground, and I can put that thing out, and I've got my wife one. She sits 50 yards away from me or whatever, and we just fire that thing up, and boom, that's
Really?
it. Everything is gone. Yeah.
So and I had a RN that was telling us how to watch for Lyme's disease and that sort of stuff. And she goes, and I go, well, what about the hunters? And she goes, actually, the hunters and the campers take care of themselves. They know what they have to do to be safe.
Yeah, we come home and we check ourselves for ticks. I mean, I hadn't had ticks out of my land. I just started running into them a couple years ago. Okay, I don't know what happened or what, but I mean, I'll catch them crawling on my clothes or on my arm or something like that. But and again, this week's article tells how to pull them out with tweezers rather than, And I used to do this as a kid when I go down. My parents would send me to Arkansas, okay, every summer, so I wouldn't have to, because we lived in the East Cleveland area. So, they teach me how to be a country boy down there and stuff. But we'd take matches and touch, blow them and turn them, and boom, they'd back out. That's not the way to do it.
No,
okay,
they say not to do that. We've been talking. You had a question, Steve. I didn't mean to interrupt
well,
you.
when we were talking about deers, I have these some questions. What about deer's eyesight? How is their eyesight good? Because they're always being hit.
Mm-hmm.
The roadkill, and I always wondered if their eyesight was just bad or what. But,
in all actuality, a deer's eyesight is about 10 times better than a human being's. Okay, the reason they get hit out on the road is they're a focused animal. Okay, they're trying to get across the freeway or the road or whatever to a food plot, or during the rut, the deer, the buck is chasing the doe, and then she just kind of, all she's worried about is getting away until she's ready to breed and stuff. So that's why you get them hurt or not hurt, but you see the road kills and stuff, and why they're goofy enough to cross a 4-lane highway. All right. I was just down in the Minter area a couple of days ago at my mother-in-law's house, and there's they're doing a lot of construction down there, and they've got those 6-foot-high abutments that run up the middle, and there was a deer laying right next to it, and I thought, my goodness, I said, how stupid can you be to try to jump this abutment with thousands of cars coming at you? But again, she was focused on trying to get across that freeway, probably going back to where she was born, or she had her last set of babies.
So basically, they're not looking, even though you have lights on.
Right.
They don't pay attention.
Right. And when the lights do hit them, they have a tendency to freeze.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
The deer in the headlight.
Yeah, exactly. Just like the old saying. And if they're in the middle of the road, well, that's what's going to happen.
And you see deer. We've all seen deer at all times of the day. Mm-hmm. Why is that? When do they sleep? What's their?
They run in cycles.
lifestyle?
Yeah, they run in cycles. Let's start at midnight. Okay, they'll get up and feed at midnight. And let's just say they'll feed for a half hour or so. Then they'll move to another area, to their next food source per se, and they'll lay down, okay, for like 4 hours. And then after that, they'll get up, feed on that food source, and make the circle to the next. They basically run a big circle, which constitutes about a mile radius, okay, which if you equate a mile square, that's about 10,000 acres, something in that neighborhood, okay. So but still, if you're a fanatic like me and you plant food plots for them, they've got a food source there. So they'll come up and feed off my one food plot, maybe at midnight, go lay down in between that one and the next one, and then 4 hours later they'll go to my back food plot, and then maybe they'll do some natural browsing.
You feed them.
I grow food for them, yes.
You do. Mm-hmm. And then you shoot them.
Yeah.
You are a sick man.
I do not hunt over my food plots, though. I will give you that, okay? But, I started planting the food plots about 5 years ago, and people, equate it to that, and I said, you know what? What about you can hunt deer basically 4 months out of the year, okay? At least archery hunt. And then you've got your gun mixed in and your muzzle loader and all that during that time. But what about all those other 8 months? Okay, those food plots are still there. They're still growing. And I can sit up in a tree stand with a camera or video camera or still camera, and I can watch those deer all day long feeding naturally in that food plot, getting the protein they need to raise their young, like right now with clover plots that I've got out and stuff. Fall, I plant a brassicas that comes up, which is a real high protein for them. And I can sit up there and I can watch them, I can take pictures of them, and I have no compunction whatsoever in my body to shoot them. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not time. It's their time, okay? But come September 29th, it's my time.
That's archery season, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you do bow hunting.
Oh, yes.
Their sense of smell is good.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Again, it's somewhere between 10, 20, 30 times greater than a human being's.
Do deer get along with other deer? Other families of deer?
Yeah, they pretty much intermingle and stuff. If you've got an orphan fawn, because let's say one got hit on the roadway, a lot of times another doe will take it, okay, and raise it. Yeah.
Okay. I always wondered about that.
I want to stress to people, though, if you run across, let's say you're out roaming your woods, or you're at a campground or something, and you run across a fawn, that's all curled up and laying there. Leave it alone. Take a picture from a ways away, but leave it alone. They say, well, it's orphaned. No, it's not. More than likely, its mother went off to feed,
Yeah.
okay, and left it there in what she thought was a safe camouflage area. You just happened to bump across it, and that. So the mother is around more than likely somewhere, especially if it's in a large wooded
One of my
area.
favorite movies is The Yearling, which is about a baby fawn that's adopted by a country kid. And the problems that fawn, as it got older, caused to that farmland that they had. One of the best movies I've ever seen with Gregory Peck, and yeah, you shouldn't really bring them in.
No.
Do the bucks fight amongst each other?
During
if they're
rut.
after a certain woman?
Oh, during rut, yes.
Well, certain
pre-rut, okay.
woman.
Well, yeah, a receptive doe, okay.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that is the that has got to be one of the best times to be in the woods for a bow hunter, okay, because it's just awesome to watch them clashing and fighting and the routine that they go through and see who the winner is. And a lot of times they say, well, God, the big buck always wins. No, it don't. Okay, let's say we got a big monster, 10 or 12 point. He's got this beautiful rack, and then here comes this spike that's got like maybe 6-inch spikes, and that's all he's got. He sneaks right in between. And,
Really?
We had a call, Dale.
Sure.
Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, Steve, Dale, how you doing?
Good.
Steve.
Hi.
Hey, Dale, I have a question for you. It's probably more in tune with a veterinarian where we have been already. But my daughter has a huge big dog. He's a cross between a boxer and a mastiff. And believe me, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
And anyway, my daughter has taken 3 ticks off of him, and she ended up taking him into the vet because he was acting kind of weird. And turns out they did a blood test, and he has Lyme disease.
Okay.
Do you know of any remedies, or do you know of, might you have any suggestions for an animal that has contracted Lyme disease, how they should be cared for, or what they should be given?
Yeah, what is the treatment for...
There's for human beings. There's all kinds of exotic antibiotics and that. For animals, I'm sorry, I'm not well versed in the animal part of it. But I tell you what, in my article this Monday coming up, there is a section on there. One of my articles or sections is about Lyme disease, and there's a lady's name down at the bottom of it. Again, Janine Kirby, and her phone number, her contact number is there. And I'm going to say, if anybody would know, this lady would know. She's been fighting her disease for 10 years or better, and she is so well versed in it and everything. So I would get that number and give her a call, and I'm sure she can give you some advice or tell you who to call or where to go to get the advice.
Well, we appreciate that. He's on antibiotics, and he's been rather lethargic here in the last few days. We don't know whether it's the antibiotics in his system that's bothering him or whether it's the effects of the Lyme disease. But he's such a gentle giant, and then to see him, to know he has this, it's scary.
Sure. Yeah. Give Janine a call. I'm sure she'll help you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, BT. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. I never thought about it.
Yeah, I've always focused on the human aspect of it, never really the animal aspect of it. But I'm sure, and a lot of doctors, and this is a big awareness thing about Lyme's disease. Okay, May was or still is. We're in May is Lyme Disease Awareness Month, and the normal, what was it, 30,000 or something like that supposedly reported disease cases of it has now grown to 300,000 because the Center for Disease Control has actually said, wait a minute, this wasn't the flu or sickness or whatever. This is Lyme's disease. So they're focusing on it a lot more, which is great.
Is this Janine Kurt? Was she a beautician?
I really don't know.
The Jenna, we call her Jenna. She contracted Lyme's disease through a horse. A tick came off a horse, not a deer. It was off a horse. But I'm just wondering if it's the same one that I know. It's Jenna and Janine are close.
Could be. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. All right, let's do a little recap on the event coming up, Dale. I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, well, like I say, it's on June 14th at the Lennox New Lyme Community Center. Dinner tickets are $20, and with that, you get a chance on a 50 caliber Thompson muzzle loader. Briquettes Barbecue down from the harbor down there is catering. The food is excellent. When we switched over to this new venue that we're doing now, Pat, I was scared to death because all your outdoors, we go to all these different banquets, okay? We support everything, at least I do, okay? But you get your normal banquet food.
Sure.
Chunk of chicken, some beef, scalloped potatoes, green beans, whatever. And these guys convinced me to change over to briquettes, and I was scared to death. I said, man, are these people going to like this food or what? Mm-hmm. The whole banquet, all I had is, after the dinner part, I just had people coming up and just...
Briquettes is great.
Briquettes is great,
Excellent.
so that was a good pick. Scott Such, one of my representatives, is the one that pushed me to do it, and then when we did it, I just said, great. So we're going to bring them back this year, and that, again, the food is great. We've got 5-6 guns on the raffle items. Tickets for those are $10 each. We've got names here, people you can contact. To get tickets, we've got these type of tear-off type tickets where you can, if you see one of these in a store somewhere, you can actually tear off the side and send it in and get your raffle tickets or your dinner tickets. Myself, you can contact me at 466-2223. I'm in the Geneva area. Tim Starkey is out this way. His number is 224-0324. Scott Such is also out here, 228-8086. And we've got a guy from Lake County, Don Hancock, who belongs to Monroe Sportsman's Club. His area is 352-6404. But any one of us, or any one of the clubs, if you know somebody from one of the clubs, Amboy, Conneaut Fish and Game, Monroe, Ashtabula Rod and Gun, we've pretty well got every club in the county that belongs to the league now. So you can just get in touch with one of those clubs. They've got tickets, or they'll put you in touch with somebody that will.
This is on June 14th. Social hour starts at 5. Dinner at 6. And as Dale said, a lot of great giveaways. Some great weapons are going to be raffled off. $10 each. Was it $10 each?
Yes, $10 per firearm ticket.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some good food by Briquettes. And this is all going to take place at the Lennox Community Center at 2509 Lennox New Lyme Road in Jefferson, Ohio. So that coming up again on June 14th, which is a week from...
2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I want to let everybody know too, while I've got a chance, every penny that's made off of this banquet stays right here in Ashtabula County.
That's good.
That's what the big thing about Ashtabula Wildlife Conservation is. We are clubs that are located in Ashtabula County. Obviously the league is too, and every penny that we make off of this banquet stays right here in Ashtabula County.
Excellent.
Okay?
Excellent. And you use that money for...
Other organizations who need help, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H clubs. A lot of the clubs, I won't say most of them, a lot of the clubs put on a youth event, like Conneaut Fish and Game's fishing derby.
Trout derby, yeah.
Yeah, their trout derby that happened. We support that. They get a grant from us to do that.
That was a big success.
Oh yeah, 340 some kids or something like that. I usually am down there, but this year, conflicting dates, I had a concealed carry class, so I couldn't make it, But we support, maybe I'll come back in and talk about this a little later. We are the main sponsor for, it's called the OEW Weekend, which stands for Outdoor Education Weekend, which Ashtabula Rod and Gun puts on. And every kid that comes to that, they come on a Friday night, and they stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and they take a hands-on hunter education course. In other words, when it comes to the rifle part of the hunter education course, they actually get to go out there and shoot a rifle. When it comes to the bow part, they get to shoot a bow, a shotgun, a pistol, the whole 9 yards. And it's a great program. It's been an extreme success. Over the 10, 15 years that they've been running it, whatever. Skip Crane runs it. It is awesome. It's
Great educational tool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Come back and see us again, Dale.
Yeah, okay.
Always fun to talk to you.
Thank you.
Get updates on the outdoors, which I'm not as familiar, obviously, as you are. And we learned a lot today.
Sure did.
So, Good luck with your spring banquet.
Appreciate you having me here, and
Yeah.
and the sportsmen of Ashtabula County appreciate you giving us a venue to
Come back
express ourselves.
anytime.
It's our
Come back
pleasure.
anytime.